Hello? Can anyone around here speak basketball?
It's the Confederacy of Dunks Basketball Podcast.
Kyle Lowry. Welcome to the Confederacy of Dunks Basketball Podcast. I am your host, Freddie Rivas. And who, sir, are you?
I'm the producer, Matt Duncan. Thank you very much for that warm intro. And Freddie, how are you?
I am doing okay. I'm hanging in. I'm dealing with, the ups and downs of the Raptors.
Yes.
And, it's quite the enduring season. But this happens when you're a fan. And, you can't always be on top in sports.
Yeah, pro sports goes in waves. And, they've been hanging 10 for quite some time. So, you know what? It's okay. It's okay.
Hanging 10. I like that.
Hanging 10. Dude.
Hey, yo, bro. We've been growing recently. We really appreciate it. And, obviously want to shout out everyone who's sharing, subscribing, giving us reviews, all that kind of good stuff is mega, mega appreciated. If people want to go, if they want to do that, or maybe they want to go above and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they want some hot sauce. Maybe they want like something for their head.
Yeah. Big
Where can they,
hot sauce?
Yeah.
We've got all kinds of links that you can go to. We've got our main website, dunkspodcast.com. We always update the episodes there. We keep an archive of all our seasons. And, you also can go to thesonarnetwork.com. That is the podcast network that we are a part of. We are the #1 sports podcast on the Sonar Network. We are the only sports podcast on the Sonar Network. So make sure you go to thesonarnetwork.com, click the and more button. Okay. Click that and more button. We're top level 1 and more. That's where you're going to find us. You're going to find a lot of other great podcasts too. So yeah, check us out, give them some web hits and then bring it back our way too. Cause we got a Patreon. We've got our link tree set up on Instagram and Twitter. So you can click on what you like. You want a toque? We got a link for that. You want our pod chasers or catchers?
Who's this guy?
Got a link for that too. I know. I feel like I'm selling watches or something. But yeah, so, we really appreciate everything and subscribing and liking. It does a lot. And of course, we are on YouTube now. So enjoy that if you want to see how we're doing in this fun pandemic. You know what I mean?
Hey, how we're doing is I'm lucky to have you. You're a pro, such a pro that, when you're plugging our stuff, you even drift into like a I'm walking here character. So, I'm walking here or I'm potting here. It works either way. We got an awesome podcast. Sheldon Alexander and Cathryn Naiker is back. And we touch a little bit on Norm. We also touch about the state of fanhood and another Freddie, plus some stuff like, coolest move in the NBA and some fun quickish questions. So make sure you check it all out. But I think before we get going, let me just say, stop Asian hate, Black Lives Matter, defund the police, and email your city councilors. And I think with that, I feel like we're ready to go. Matt, if you feel like we're ready to go, could you please give me those sweet, sweet words? Okay.
Okay.
Let's get rolling here on guest number 1. I'm very excited to have him back. I think he's done the pod. I want to say twice. Okay. Yeah. And I don't know why I always say that. It's not a qualification for doing this pod anyways.
It's just
he's
amazing. We can get him. He's a busy guy.
Yeah, totally. It's whenever we can get him. He's an amazing hardcore Raptors analyst. He runs the podcast. I always say Ball on Blast, but it's the Wrap It Up Raptors podcast. He's also, I'll let him, potentially spill the beans on any cool new stuff because I don't want to get him in trouble. just in case. But give it up as loud as you can, even if you're at home alone, for Sheldon Alexander. Hey, buddy.
I like the tunes. Hey.
Yours takes a bit to get going, and then it like breaks into the same thing it was already in.
But I like it though. I like the build up. I like it.
Okay, there's a bit more. If you follow the parade,
it's a journey.
You hear other sounds.
I like it. I approve for sure. And
Thank you.
For the record, like, you are correct. Ball on Blast is like a basketball pod that we do normally. Wrap It Up is just the consistent Raptors post-game show. So you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Good. Well, you know what? It's that terminology type stuff where I always feel like I'm going to say something wrong and then get some like cease and desist email. You know what I mean? It's like, Freddie, heads up, like Sheldon's coming after you like hard with all his lawyers. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I'll have my people contact your people.
Yeah, which would really just be me, and I'd be pretty scared right away. But yeah, I don't know if you want to like share some of the news you were talking about before the pod, where people can check you out. But if not, I don't want to get you in trouble either.
No. It's totally fine. It's all good. We were just talking about scheduling, because I've been on the pod a couple times, and it was always tough before just because I worked on the Tim and Sid show. So my days were pretty much booked. It was tough to work out scheduling wise.
Right.
But now that I switched over, I'm doing a job now where I work on the Raptors broadcast, doing like the opening teases and montages for the games that are on Sportsnet. Well, that gives me days off in the middle of the day. So, hey, able to come here and join you guys and talk some Raptors basketball. So that's good.
Hell yeah. Well, thanks for joining us, and congratulations. Like, that's, super cool and well-deserved. And
thanks. I appreciate that.
I'm excited to talk some more ball with you, and let's bring on guest number 2. Okay. Yeah. She's amazing. She's done this pod a million times. The most frequent guest. She's also the biggest nurse stan, or maybe not the biggest, but the OG nurse stan that I know of anyways. Like, before Fisherman's Friend, like, she was just there super early. She's a writer for, This Hour is 22 Minutes. She's written for Mr. D, a bunch of other awesome stuff. She's a wicked stand-up. And she's got her own basketball podcast as well, Buckets and Tea. Please give it up as loud as you can, even if you're at home alone, for Cathryn Naiker.
Hello.
Hello.
Always like this cool intro. It's cooler than me. I always say that. Freddie, I gotta give you personally a shout out real quick here, because Freddie, people, maybe regular listeners know, maybe not everybody knows, this guy's in the city with this urban garden, growing his own chilies, just, crushing it, making his own hot sauces. Like, I just imagine you like Lucille Ball, like crushing grapes. Like, I don't know the process, but that's how I imagine it in my mind. And, I'm just blessed, #blessed, to be a part of an elite group that got the hot sauce. And I gotta tell you, it's so good. No one paid me to say this. Freddie wasn't like, hey, I'm gonna give you my hot sauce so you can plug it on my show.
That was the implication, but
that was not that was not, Freddie was in Hamilton for somebody else, and then he decided he could swing by and see me.
That's right.
And then he dropped off the hot sauce, and it's so good. And it's got like carrots in it. There's like some cumin in it and like a bunch of other shit. I don't know how hot sauce gets made, but I make my own hummus, and then I added it to my hummus, and now I have like next level
spicy hummus.
I got next level spicy hummus now, and it's thanks to you. And I know that you offer this on your Patreon, so I thought I'd give you a chance to plug, which, for the record, I get nothing. I get nothing from the Patreon. Not suggesting I should, but I'm just saying it's good. It's good hot sauce.
Folks, I just got to tell you, that's the most organic plug that's ever happened on this show, both with the way you delivered it and also I start the peppers from seed, right? So it's an organic garden
Right.
type thing.
There you
So,
go.
yeah, check it out. Sheldon, I feel like I got to give you at least a little bit now. Maybe it's not a full bottle, but I got little canteens and I still have the sticker. So anyways, it's also called Splash of OG. We named it after the shot, which was like, you know, splash of cumin, splash of OG. We figured like, you know, put on some breakfast. Anyways, you know, let's talk basketball because I feel like
sorry, I know.
I don't feel like anyone's sweating over the hot sauce talk. Like they're probably pumped about it, but I'm anxious.
I was enjoying it. For the record, I was enjoying it.
Thank you.
I will say halfway through that plug, I was like, damn, should we do a hot sauce pod? But that's just my.
You know what? That would be. That's such a fun like off season sort of thing to do, like post free agency, sort of that August lull. Why not?
Yeah. Let's do it. But right now, let's talk some Raptors ball. So, Maddie, good sir, please give me your most delicious Raptors sting.
Paging Bobby Webster.
Okay, Sheldon, let's start with you. And I'm just kind of going off of the post-game pressers after the, you know, beatdown we suffered at the hands of Marc Gasol and the Los Angeles Lakers. Siakam and Nurse were both kind of asked about how they're perceiving the playoffs at this given time. Obviously, under no circumstances could they say, we don't think we're going to make it and we're not going to try. So that's just, you know, them saying we're going to continue to fight is sort of par for the course. But also there's a part of what they're saying that I guess strikes me as something, you know, or reminds me of what Nurse said earlier in the season, which is kind of like he wants to see these guys in some version of their healthiest form playing together, even for the sake of like assessing things. Like, it's not like these guys can't handle losing. It's that it's like they want a chance to lose at their best, I think. Not every team gets that, obviously.
Yeah.
But, you know, so between that, I think I'm saying trolls. Like, I understand a lot of people enjoy the draft, but I think if you view every win-loss as like Cade or Suggs, I feel like you're a bit lost in the shuffle here. There's 20 games left. There's a lot of basketball. We can talk about the draft for a long time after the season.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. And then there's also, you know, just Twitter hype, like talking about OG's wrestling moves and just the excitement of the game. So with that meandering question aside, where are you at? Like, what do you think people should be talking about?
So for me, my thoughts on this whole Raptors season, it's got to be about overall development. So you just want to be able to say at the end of the season, OG took strides. He improved his offensive game. You see him being able to average closer to 15. Like, you know what I mean? He has enough games where he's getting to 20 points a night. Something like that. You want to see those developments. You want to know things like, can Malachi Flynn be your backup point guard next year? If and when Kyle is gone, can Malachi take those minutes? That's what this season is about. And I think especially now, as whether the playoffs are realistic or not, it's going to be close getting into the play-in tournament.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to become so much more important that at least you can come away from this season and say, hey, we know Boucher can be a piece off the bench. Those are the things you got to be looking at, because to play the game every single day, right? Because think of the last 2 nights. It went from, all right, we're back in the playoffs. You can make a good run off the Gary Trent Jr. game winner, which was amazing and incredible.
So amazing.
But then does that even last 24 hours? Because you then get beat down by the Lakers. So to ride that wave the whole time, it's not, I mean, I don't think it's good for your health, but also I just don't think it's a realistic way to watch the season and enjoy the season. Because most importantly, I think, Freddie, is the team isn't going to tank. They're too good to tank. They're not actively going to try to go out and lose games. They play too hard. Nurse, and hey, if you're the champion of the Nurse bandwagon, I'm not in the passenger seat, but I'm somewhere in the back seat, maybe in the trunk. I'll hitch a ride.
That's good.
Right. But Nurse he's too good of a coach. So they're not going to tank. That's not even a realistic conversation. I think if they lose, it's because of what we're seeing. this season with the injuries, with the COVID, but also from the very start of the year, they just have a lack of depth. And that's the issue that's causing them to lose so many games this year.
I mean, I honestly, can you write that down so I can just like put it on a Twitter thread that you basically, well, what's it called when I'll pin that tweet just
you
because
mean
like
Matt isn't like feverishly like transcribing this as we go?
yeah, sorry. Yeah, folks who watch this on YouTube know that the only reason you don't see Matt is he's furiously writing this down by hand. And Matt has bruises, like his hands, you can see the damage. So we work hard. But no, really, I think it's, I mean, I haven't said it so well, but I feel like this season has largely been about patience in so many ways, and our patience being tested. And I love the answer of overall development. And for me, the obvious thing of these guys are winners. Like, I think it's a different thing if, let's say, Fred and Pascal are also the same age as OG. Or, we don't have these guys locked into these bigger, future forward, like looking contracts. Because we're trying to figure things out. We're trying to figure out how to win. We're not trying to be bad to then hope to figure out how to win at a future date. Winning's hard though. Cathryn, where are you at with well, I know where you're at with Matt writing everything down. You love it. You think he should work harder. I do too.
Yeah.
But where are you at with, like, what should Raptors fans think? Or, what should they be talking about?
Well, I think like Raptors fans, the past couple of years have just gotten like next level emotional. Like there is absolutely no chill.
We fly
with
off
the
the
Raptors
handle.
fan base, like just absolutely none. Like ever since like the Kawhi, in Toronto during free agency, friggin' helicopter CP24, like we just reek of desperation all the time. And like even when Gary Trent Jr. like hit that game-winning shot, people acted like the Raptors had never hit a game-winning shot before. Like we had this coming. Like the world doesn't owe us a game-winning shot. You know what I mean? Like it was great that it happened, but the world doesn't owe us that. And I just think like just the reeking of desperation is leading to this. We're going to the playoffs. No, we should tank. No, we should do this. No, we should do that. And like, it just feels like from a fan base perspective, nobody except for Sheldon is really like rational, like across the board. And so I think like, of course, like Nick and Pascal are going to tell us, they're not going to tank. Of course, they would never say anything otherwise, but I believe them. Like it's not in them to tank at all. And I think we've probably, have won. Well, I mean, there's 20 games left. So like, I suppose technically, theoretically, a tanking of some sort could occur, but I don't know. It's not worth it to me personally, even if, we were in full on tank mode. I really trust the way this team drafts anyway. So I'm pretty confident no matter what sort of pick we get, whether it ends up being like a top 8 pick or not, like we draft so well that I'm confident in that process. So I think, like Sheldon said, like we lack depth majorly. Personally, like for all the Kyle and Norm talk at the trade deadline, I was really disappointed we didn't get a center out of it. Like as much as we all love Gary Trent Jr. and I do too, but it was just really disappointing that we didn't get like a proper big out of it. With that being said, maybe that'll happen in the draft. I'm not sure who's available in free agency. I haven't looked that far ahead. But yeah, really, it's just that's the area where we need to improve. And so to answer your question, that's the thing the Raptors fans should be looking at is who can we get? Who can we fill out this roster with? Who would really help improve our team and add more depth to our team?
Okay, that's honestly the perfect transition. No, you said a lot. I agreed with all of it. Particularly, I agree with like, when you're talking about like this team as, I don't know, this team is like a high functioning organization. So it's like, sure, root for number 1 or 2 or 3 in the lottery. That's fine. But like, and, I'm not saying that there isn't a major difference between those 3 and the guys who are going to be drafted after 15th. But I also feel like I want to know what exactly we're working with. And I'm sure Bobby and Masai do. to then make the best decision possible. And also it's like, we've seen it before with Masai. It's kind of like, I don't mind him putting the pressure on the other teams to let that guy that's too good to drop to us. Because I feel like, it's similar to you. I had that just ingrained confidence in Masai and Bobby and the way they run this organization. And maybe that's just being traumatized from, Brian Colangelo or Babcock or whatever. But like, it's like, I know that they're not perfect. I know that they drafted Bruno. I know that they signed Damari Carroll. Like, I know, something, it didn't go well with Serge this summer. Like, things happen. Like, but they're just so rock solid. It's hard for me to doubt them. And it's hard for me to not want to, back to Sheldon's point, like, and actually both your points with depth. Like, I want to see what Bembry's like all about. Like, I want to see, I mean, Baines is a bit of a passing through type figure because of his
we know what Baines is about.
We hope.
You know what?
We hope.
Yeah, you know what? Poor guy. But let's actually move on because Cathryn, it was a perfect transition until I ruined it. About the big. We need a big. We got a big. And his name's my name, Freddie. So we have another Freddie on the team. Always good. It looks like he's an IE. I thought Freddie Van Vliet was an IE like me too. I see a lot of Y's out there, so I don't really know. But
interesting. I thought he was IE as well.
I thought he was IE, but I see a lot of Freddie with the Y's out there.
Sheldon, where do you stand on this?
I think I stand with the Y's. I think.
Oh, he's a
I'm
Y.
trying to think about it. No. I'm just saying I don't know which is correct. I'm just saying whenever I've written it, I feel
Honestly,
like I've gone Y.
This is Mandela effect, pure and simple. We're in a situation where it's like maybe Freddie's name was never spelled with an IE, but like just because of my name, I'm like, okay, I'm ruining the Mandela.
Like some of us see
effect.
a gold dress and some of us see a blue dress. Like, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I basically just saw an episode on the Mandela effect, and I'm really butchering the concept. But it's like the Berenstain Bears thing. It's like collective memory.
Sure.
Anyways,
Okay.
You know what? I've drifted far enough. But Freddie Gillespie is this new guy we got. He's from Baylor. He went undrafted in the 2020 draft. Signed a 10-day, I believe, with the Mavericks. I think last year, but it might have been this year when they had their when they got hit by COVID hard early. He seems like a pretty solid rebounder. He was decent in the G League, played for Memphis. My question to you, Cathryn, is like, do you expect this guy to get the Donte Hall treatment, aka just get beyond the team for 10 days and not play? Get the Henry Ellenson treatment, like play a little bit, but like still don't know? Or do you think that, this is maybe the guy Masai and Bobby were looking for, and he's kind of like more of a long-term fit?
I just like the name Freddie Gillespie sounds
Great
like
name.
we signed a baseball player from 100 years ago. That is a hell of a name.
Freddie Gillespie, steal second, and now he's stealing third.
Exactly. I'm like, what is this name? I don't know, man. Like, I read the article that you sent us just kind of briefly. He's 6'8", so to me, he's not
6'9".
He's 6'9". Okay,
It's
but
a
what,
huge
he's
difference,
not,
Cathryn.
He's not like he's listed as a forward. He's not listed as a center. So I mean, cool, good for him. Happy for the 10-day. Keeping expectations mad low. Like, I'm not, it'd be cool if he popped off, but like, I'm not expecting anything rounding third base.
I am shocked that you don't have massive expectations of this 10-day contract, Cathryn. Sheldon, do you?
I was going to say my bar is super low for the Raptors bringing in any forward. Can you just take minutes from Baines? It's not that, like, other than that, I don't have many more expectations from anyone they bring in. Can you just take minutes from Aaron Baines? And cool, I'll be okay with that. I'm not even saying he has to score a lot of points. I'm not saying he has to get a lot of rebounds, but can you take minutes away from Aaron Baines? And can you not shoot threes? Like, Aaron Baines continues to shoot threes. For what reason? I don't understand. I may never understand, but here we are. I don't know much about Mr. Gillespie, but that is a pretty dope name.
Cheers. We all agree.
Right? Yeah. Great name. But I just think they're filling out a roster spot, and with the need for bodies because, guys continue to go down, and Siakam, I mean, they're not going to come out and say that Siakam's tired, but I keep having to remind myself he is coming back from, a very traumatic experience, right? Like he had COVID, he came back, and we know he's talked about how much weight he lost and stuff like that. And you're not going to get every single athlete coming back and being honest about, and nor should they have to be, for the record. They can say whatever they want to say.
It's their health information. So
totally. But we'll never fully know how long it takes him to get his breath back, to get his wind back, to get his conditioning back in order. And so to play the second night of a back-to-back where he has to carry such a massive scoring load and just production load and making all the plays for the Raps, bringing in another big body that might be able to take minutes, sure, why not? And if not, maybe he has nice suits to sit on the bench beside Kyle and Fred Wilder.
Okay, I'm glad I asked this question just for the suits joke and the baseball joke. But also that's kind of what I'm like, again, you phrased it well with like taking minutes from Baines or like, like Pascal for sure. But I'm also thinking OG. I think OG doesn't seem to be as rocked or as tired as Pascal. Maybe he carries less of the load. On both ends.
Can you ever get a read off of OG? Like I can never get a sense of anything from OG Anunoby ever. Like I couldn't even tell he was mad yesterday.
He just body slammed someone and we don't know if he intended it or not. Like that's how little we can get a read on it.
I feel like OG is like, obviously he's very smart. So that's not this part of comparison, but he's like Lenny in Of Mice and Men, where like Lenny's just so strong and just like can hurt things and kill things just by touching them. Sorry, Of Mice and Men reference. You know what? I'll Steinbeck my way out of here. I think OG, the reason I brought him up too is because you can't get a read on him. He obviously like picked up Dennis Schroeder with, I want to say partially realizing it. It certainly didn't look heavy, but I still think Boucher and Baines, they're not enough to like take we need someone to take some of the like sweat equity, like some of the banging, some of the bruises, like
dirty work.
Yeah. Like Bembry's even seeming like he's like, okay, you know what? If that's how I get more minutes, I'll rip down some boards. Like I'll just be a beast here. And I think if we have someone who can do that, even if it's like clunkier and, they're not as whatever, like they don't make the, at this point, the Baines thing is key. If you can take minutes from Baines, because whatever he's bringing IQ, in terms of like a veteran, whatever, it's like, that's just negated by his speed and like lack of efficiency right now, I would say. But you know what, let's go positive. And Matt, I want to bring you in for this as well. Gonna try and have at least one Matt question every time too. But we didn't. I can't believe it. I feel bad I didn't do this on the pod yesterday. But I just want to do some Norm Powell memories because I was so fixated on how we did in the deadline. I guess Gary Trent, Lowry, obviously. That I blew right past it. We talked about Norm a little bit, but not like we didn't give him his due. So I don't know who wants to go first here. Sheldon, do you have is there a Norm memory that sticks out? Or it doesn't have to be a specific thing, but
The funny thing to me about Norm was I remember the summer league when one of my coworkers who's just diehard Raptor fan, loves the Raptors, watches like every single ounce of Raptors content, Raptors, games, practices, whatever there is that's out there, he's watching it. I remember he came to me and he was like, "Hey, did you check out the summer league game? I think Norm Powell might be good." And I remember thinking, wait, what? And you got to go back to that moment in time, right? Second round pick. Like it was kind of like, yeah, maybe he could be something, but who knows?
Totally.
And I remember he was just very confident in saying, no, I think like he might be a piece. Like we might be able to plug him in somehow. And then to go from having such little expectations of Norm to then what he became in terms of a key piece of a championship team.
Yes.
And just that whole experience. So I don't, there's little moments you'll pick out. I'm sure someone will say the Pacers dunk, which was awesome
for sure.
But like just when you take the step back and think second round pick, didn't really know what we had, and then all of a sudden my guy is like, you needed Norman Powell to win a championship. Like, that is incredible when you think of it in that sense. So that's it to me, like watching the journey or understanding the grind.
Understanding the grind. Yeah, totally. Like, I love that he has like the longest of all the taglines, but it's like the most descriptive. So you're like, okay, I think I understand where you're coming from, Norm. No, that's a great, I remember that summer league. Obviously, yeah, the leaning Pacers dunk, which helped us win game 5 for whatever reason. Ty Lawson played like 8 minutes in a row and we went on a run. That was cool. Shout out.
Remember that moment though? Do you remember the moment in that game? Because it was fourth quarter, they're down. I want to say like 12 or something. It was like, I thought the game was over and they were going to lose. And all of a sudden here comes Norm Powell off the bench. And it's just like, wait, what is happening here?
And he was fire. Like, I was going to say, like, I don't know, you know what? I'll go through the moments first. Cause I just to make sure I don't want to steal anyone else's, but yeah, Cathryn, do you have a Norm Powell moment or thing?
Well, I have like a favorite and sort of like an underrated moment, or sort of maybe more or less an underrated game, I should say.
Sure.
But the game 6 in the Boston series, Norm Powell came through so hard for us in that game, and that game goes to like double overtime, and it is not a game 7 series without Norm. And like, he's always been so impactful on this team, not even like, of course, the championship season, but, ever since that season, you're talking about the Pacers series. I don't even remember what year that is anymore, but I do remember watching that series and being like, wow, this guy, I mean, it wasn't even just like a dunk. It was like putting myself on the map. Kind of dunk. Like, there wasn't a Raptor fan that didn't know who Norm Powell was after that. I mean, it was really something. And I don't know, like, he was just like a really cool guy. I had 2 friends that for sure thought they were going to marry Norm Powell, and like their dreams are over, but fair. We move on. And he just
hold on. He did say he's coming back in the summer. He did say he'll still be coming back to visit Toronto.
Thank you for telling me, and I will let them know, because they need to be where he's at. Oh, that's so funny. He is coming back in the summer. What for? Just to hang out?
He just loved the city. Yeah, he said he loves the city, and he'll definitely be back in the summer, and he will always have a love for Toronto. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I love Norm so much.
Just love that guy. I mean, I love obviously like the like the championship, but reading in the Players Tribune that him and Fred just posed for those pics with the trophies is so funny to me. Like, not so that cute. Like, yeah, it's just so cute just to like imagine them just doing little photo shoots with each other. And then when Fred was like, Thugs Cry Too, and then I was joking.
Thugs Cry Too got me, not gonna lie.
And then I was joking on my pod about like Fergie's like Big Girls Don't Cry just like in the background while like Norm's hugging the trophy. Anyway, just a lot of good just a lot
of thoughts and feelings.
Just a lot of thoughts and feelings with Norm. I think he'll always be beloved in this city. Very like, that championship squad will always have like a special place, I think, with Toronto, very much like those 90s Blue Jays did. Like, I think, there'll be like random charity events like 20 years from now, and like Norm Powell will be there and everyone will get all hype about it.
Oh man, I hope so. I'll continue pushing for my Kyle Lowry statue to be somewhere in the path right when an elevator opens and you walk into it. So he's just taking charges on like random Torontonians forevermore. And it's like a stone statue and you're like, ow. But then it's like, true. Thanks, Kyle.
I mean, when you really think about it, there should be a Joe Carter statue.
Is there not?
No.
Oh, that's pretty horrible. Yeah. Okay, right? Well, I'm going to talk to some of my baseball friends and yell at them.
Just saying.
And they'll probably be like, it's Mr. Rogers.
Because he also has that iconic like pose with his arms up in the air when he hit that grand slam, right? That's all I know. That's literally all my baseball knowledge.
I'll say this. Joe needs a statue. My goodness.
Right?
Agreed.
Matt, I don't know if we
Yeah.
took all the moments away from you. I'm glad
Wow.
I didn't say my moment because I have a couple swirling in my head, and I was really
Right.
leaning towards that Boston game. So I'm
Yeah.
glad I didn't.
My bad.
No. I got backups. Matt, where were you at?
So I've got a couple of moments with Norm that are personal to me. One, at the start of every season you ask us which player is going to take a step back, and I always say Norm. I don't know why. I always
How
think
dare
it's
you.
gonna be Norm, and he always proves me wrong. He's like a solid player. He's a great offensive player. But for some reason, I don't know why. I just I want, because I know he listens to this podcast. I know,
Of course.
he's gonna put that grind on his shoulder a little bit
And
more.
you don't
grind.
understand it, clearly.
I do not understand the grind. That's one of my favorite memories of Norm is I don't get it. But first before Norm is a basketball player, he's a commercial actor first. And
Oh wow.
what he did on that piano for GoDaddy,
rocked it.
as someone who acts in commercials, it got me. And it's something that Freddie as well can, you look at that stuff and you learn from it and you bring it into your own work. And I like web domains a lot more than I did before. And sometimes I think about playing a keyboard. So Norm,
Cheers.
you inspire me in so many ways, and
Every
I'm
day.
so sorry I always sold you so short on your skill.
Matt,
Wow.
I love you so
That's
much.
good.
Also, how dare you? Okay, my memory is so it's not totally different than Sheldon's. And it was also in the Player Tribune, and I remember it distinctly because I think our G League sort of the tenor around it changed a little bit, and Norm was still in the time where if you don't want to be in the G League, you go in there and you destroy the competition, and then they bring you out of the G League and you never go back.
Mhm.
But I think that, so my moment is Norm doing that, just that. Like he went down and he just trashed the G League or the D League at the time, and he was too good. I forget what his averages were, but he was just destroying. And I think afterwards it changed a little bit where it was like, no, Fred and Pascal were destroying the G League. And it was like, no, chill there. Keep getting your shots up, win a championship. This will continue. Like, I think as the G League became more, we started to run more Raptors plays and all that kind of stuff. It was less of a demotion. And now I think guys are a bit more like into doing it just for the sake of development. But yeah, in a lot of ways, I think Norm was the first bet on yourself guy in Toronto. And obviously that's Fred's baby, but I think those two are connected for a reason. They're very, and I was happy that Norm said that in the story. Like, yes, he wasn't undrafted in the same way that Fred was, but I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, Fred was going to go in the second round somewhere if he allowed himself to be drafted. And he kind of decided to be like, nah, I want a contract. I might be like I have some of the details wrong there, but they're very similar is what I'm saying. And I think Fred's ceiling has shown to be quite a bit higher, but at the same time, Norm is just really, he really like got everything possible out of his performance, or his performances and his production. And I think that's just, you look all over the NBA at different prospects developing at different speeds, and you look back at Norm and you're like, wow, you really did. Like, you didn't miss the chance to improve. And so that's kind of like my Norm spiel, my Norm moment. But I think I do want to move on to some NBA stuff if you guys are good. Cool. Matty, good sir, please give me your most delicious Adam Silver tugboaty, whatever you got. Sting.
This is Adam Silver.
Need the tugboat. Oh, whoops. Sorry. I messed up the Bion sound. Let's go to you first, Cathryn. And this is always kind of one of those questions that is very subjective, but who is the most improved player in the NBA this year?
I actually found this one was a little hard. Like this didn't come to me right away. I don't
Yeah,
think
me
there's
too.
like a runaway for this, but I'm gonna go with Julius Randle on the Knicks.
Great one.
I
like
think I
that.
think he'll end up winning it, because he plays for the Knicks. But also like he is an all-star this year and they're in the playoffs, and I think if I was a betting person, that's who I'd go with. But also like I really can't think of anyone else that's like gonna run away with it.
Yeah, I really don't think there's a runaway this year because, like, usually, all the MVP award the most, is narrative based, but I think all the awards to a certain degree are narrative based. And yeah, I haven't heard major narratives for it's like, oh man, this guy has improved so much that he's got it already. Well, what about you, Shel? I think Randall's actually better than the guy I have in my head, but yeah, who do you got?
No, I got to agree with Cathryn and say it's Randall, because if you go back to the start of the season, there's nobody that thought that Julius Randle would A, be an all-star, and B, the Knicks, even though they've struggled as of late, they've been in the playoff mix.
Hey man, they're still in
season.
there. Yeah, totally.
They're still there, and they've struggled as of late, but for the most part this season, the Knicks have been one of the great stories of the NBA, and not many people would have thought that. And I know Tom Thibodeau has come in, and obviously he's a huge driving force as to why that is, but who had Julius Randle as being an all-star, putting up over 20 points a night and just leading that team, and taking it personally in terms of being the leader of that team. There were games earlier this year where you're seeing him upset that they lost to the Nets, right? Like taking it, and I hate being the body language reader or whatever, but like that's a guy that cares a lot. That's a guy that had heavy expectations for himself and for his team. And I don't know if you guys saw the video a couple days ago of his son as
it was
they were
amazing.
leaving. I mean, if not for that alone,
wait, sorry.
For people who haven't seen it. So they lost to the Nets a couple of days ago, and there's a video of Julius Randle's son, who's maybe 2-3 years old, maybe. No, maybe a little older, but not much older than like 4. And so they're walking out of the arena, and there's a huge poster of the Nets, and he's just crying, and he's like, I'd hate those guys. I don't like those guys. Like through the tears as because they just lost the game to the Nets. And I don't know why I brought that up, because it has nothing to do with the most.
I love it
so far, but I just thought it was fun.
No, it's a crucial part of the
crucial
vote.
part. That's
how
like
cute is your child, right?
And exhibit A, family passion. You know what I mean? I'm always into, like whether it's Lowry's mom, on Twitter, or LeVar Ball. I'm into it. Like, I'm into family, being involved, being a part of the mix.
How's Fred Jr. doing? Have we gotten a Fred Jr. update as of late?
I haven't heard much about Fred Jr.
He's pretty chill.
Pretty chill.
Yeah, I think
there's been a few photos on the Insta.
Okay. Nice. He's doing okay in his baby development.
Yeah, but no, specific updates.
Doesn't have the jumper yet. The jumper's not ready yet. Okay.
No. Oh, there was a cute picture of him and the big sis, just smiling together, being cute.
Okay,
hey,
fair enough.
We need some cute
big
content.
Sis doesn't get enough love, honestly. She's pretty cool too.
Yeah, big sis. Fredonia.
I forget her name.
Fredonia, it's got to be
Fredonia.
Hey, I'm just going off that Gary Trent Sr. vibes, the George Foreman vibes,
But that'd be funny if it was also Junior, just full
Fredonia
of Fredonia Junior.
Fredna,
Fredna. Yeah.
Hey, I got called Fredna in grade 7. No issues, But it's okay. You know what? Your answers are just better. It's Randall. I was going to make I guess an argument for, it just seems like a stretch now. I was going to make an argument for Zach LaVine, just because, I think he's upped his production and at the same time, courted a player. It's not like he orchestrated the Vucevic trade, but I think the fact that Chicago is bringing in a guy to complement him and talking about giving him, an extension and those sort of things. I think because of the sleeping Chicago thing and all that, like, that's meaningful for that franchise, I really think. But yeah, he doesn't fit into the traditional. He's already been an all-star, and so you won't win the award, certainly. And my other guy was Jaylen Brown, just because I think he vaulted himself into the conversation of, wait a second, is Brown better than Tatum? Which to me is pretty massive. I don't know if that's necessarily a fair conversation. Like, I think maybe perhaps Tatum is still, I don't know, but I have to look into it. But I think the fact that that's even a conversation, whereas like a year ago, it was like, absolutely not, I think that's substantial. But again, I don't know if it's usually, this award usually goes to like a pretty big ballooning in stats, like a Chris Boucher style thing. But that, it could also be 6-man for him if he qualifies. But let's move on to our last NBA question here. Let's go to you, Sheldon. This was like a classic Freddie convoluted question. Cathryn, thanks for clarifying. Huge. I'm just looking for like a signature type move, like a Harden step back, or the jaw. Maybe the Ja Morant example was bad because it's not necessarily a signature move. Just in his rookie year, he was basically jumping in the air and then deciding what he wanted to do, which was wild to me. So yeah,
I got you.
Yeah,
no problem.
Have you noticed anything this year, Sheldon?
So it might not be like this definitely didn't start this year, but my infatuation with it definitely started this year, and it's Dame time. And what Dame time means to me is whatever's going on and there's 2 minutes left in the Blazers game and it's close, Dame coming over half court and just pulling up from deep is just incredible to watch. And I know Steph also does it. I know other guys have tried to do it, but nobody does it out of necessity. And what I mean by necessity is defenses don't know when to start guarding him. And so even in that game against the Raptors, where when they started to make that run and it was Gary Trent Jr. guarding him, right? Like Gary Trent Jr. just played with Dame. So he's well aware of the resume, but Dame,
he's good on D too.
For sure. But Dame stepped around a screen and he was so far out that nobody thought that he would pull up and take the shot, but he does. And it's just a normal jump shot for him. Like, it doesn't look forced. It doesn't look, like he's exerting that much energy or whatever to take this like deep three that nobody else in the league other than Steph would even think of taking in crunch time, but he does it all the time. So to me, it's the Dame Lillard shot. And again, it's not new this season, but anytime, once a Raptors game ends and I flick around and I'm seeing there's a Blazers game on, first thing I'm doing, checking the score, and I'm locked in to watch the end of that game.
Yeah, that's a great one. I mean, like, yeah, it kind of fits the question though, because it's not brand new, but it's also not old, because like I remember, Dame has had like what? It's like 2 or 3 playoff game winners that are deep threes, or maybe just the one is a deep three against Paul George. But like also, during the bubble, I think with the way that the Blazers played, the whole Dame time thing really kind of took off as a thing. And with the Warriors, like, it was never like Steph time necessarily. It was kind of just like, oh, the Warriors about to go on a 13-1 run. But yeah, with Dame, it's kind of like he's his own person.
It went from being like a moment to being a thing, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Cathryn, do you have do you have one as well?
I mean, the Damian Lillard one is obviously like pretty great. And in the West, like personally, I mean, it's like the Norm Powell trade aside, like I'm really excited to see what Portland does in the playoffs this year. But this was kind of hard for me. I was trying to think of something. This is a genuine answer, but also the most annoying answer. And
sure.
I'm gonna lose a lot of people on this one. But like I am a Trae Young fan, okay? And I am currently a Trae Young defender. We'll see how long that lasts.
Okay.
But because you're talking about like a move, like a signature move, like every
How he gets
no-look
to the line,
pass,
or
like imagine that's my
I
my
love
move.
how Trey gets to
How
the
he
line.
gets to the line.
Yeah.
No, but like I do think he's very impressive. I do think his passes are very flashy. They're highlights in and of themselves. Like people knock him for how he complains to the refs or his lack of defense, but like nobody did that with James Harden when he was like year 3 in the NBA. Like I don't know. Like I just think people are really like harsh on him, and like they're in the playoff mix. They're teetering between 4th and 6th in the East. Like they've really improved since the coach firing. I don't know. Like the Hawks we'll see. And I'm not saying they are for real, but I'm saying they might be for real in a way people weren't expecting. So I don't know. Like I am currently a Trae Young fan. We'll see how long that lasts. I do think his passing is pretty special. And sorry if you hate me.
Let me just say, I don't hate you at all. I'm not like a Trae stan, but I'm definitely
I'm
not a hater.
saying I'm not a stan, but I'm a fan.
Well, and I think
big difference.
It's a good point you bring up too about like how players get critiqued. Like, I guess my standing opinion is like, if you don't like that James Harden plays that way, stop him. If you don't like that the Warriors like were destroying the league, stop them, beat them. Yeah. So that's just kind of my thing. It's like there's so many talented players that it's like, do what you need to do to win. Like even when Fred. Like with these Raptors games against Atlanta this year, about a quarter, 2 quarters in, he starts drawing fouls because he's like, oh, it's like this. All right. Yeah. And I think I love that. I love that he doesn't wait the whole game, play his like style and then go like, hey, Trae got all these like cheap fouls and I didn't. It's like, Fred's like, cool. I'm going to try to win this game. So if that means I'm going to draw fouls like Trae, I'll do it. So that's kind of where I'm at. And also like as a defender, I don't know, study them and do your best not to foul them.
Yeah, like people hate how Kyle Lowry gets to the line, but that's because he's not on their team.
Exactly. And the I don't know if the Spurs still are, but for a long time, the Spurs defense, like one of their biggest things was like hands up, no fouling. And they really did do that for a while against the majority of the league. They had team after team that was incredible. Danny Green and Kawhi were part of those teams that were incredible at not fouling, like and showing the refs your hands at all times. Okay, my move is I think a pretty good choice, but it's definitely not as cool as yours, like a Trae pass or Dame time. Mine is the Boban Marjanovic standing dunk. We're seeing it way more. It's like, it's a thing. It's totally a thing. He does it a lot. I think he's actually decided that he's just going to cut the jump because it takes too long. I feel like if I put my hands up and just put the ball in the net, there's no time for the defender.
Hey, it's easier on his knees long-term too.
Right. But yeah, it's like one of those things. The first time you see it, you're like, wait, did he not jump? And then you see it. It's like, oh, he can dunk with power, not jumping. So that's my pick. But I feel like
the Raptors could get Boban.
Boban would be very nice. And even just as like a
season.
He'd change the season. He'd also like bring a different vibe. Yeah, Boban would be a good addition to this team for sure. But I think that's a nice silly place to bring this to some quickish questions. You want to wrap this up with some quickish questions, buddies?
Let's do it.
I don't know. I always do that expecting a response, and I don't know what. Anyways, Maddie, good sir, please give me your most delicious quickish questions sting.
Quickish questions.
Okie doke. Let me just pull this baby up. But you both know quickish questions. I'm gonna stammer. I'm gonna slur. I'm gonna stutter. I might misread a comma. That doesn't matter. You still have to answer the question as quickly as you possibly can. No phoning a friend. No purposely delaying with ums and ahs. Matt, I'm looking at you. Yeah, that's it. You got to answer. You had no filibustering. There you go. Cool. Are we good to go?
Yeah.
Okay, fired up. Let's go. Cathryn, Sheldon, Matt. Cathryn, can someone please fix the Raptors? Question mark.
Can someone? Yes.
Okay. Sheldon, is Nick cool, or is he a bit annoying now?
Oh my god.
Ooh. I think he's teetering on almost becoming annoying with the arguing with the refs.
I agree.
Teetering.
Maddie,
Yes.
Malachi ceiling? Question mark.
Oh wow. I think he's gonna be like a solid 20-point guy. I do.
Wow, I love it.
Yeah.
Cathryn, no question, but I'm going to spend a lot of time today looking at that OG GIF. So just a reaction to someone
With the
watching
body slam?
the body slam, but I also posted in this thread OG winking. So it could be the body slam, could be the wink.
I'm sure it's the body slam though. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, to this person who is gonna really study this, let us in on his motivations. You know, really study that body language. Let us know what's going on. What do you read? What do you see?
Ooh, I like that.
Right.
Question
Yeah.
back at the question or the non-question.
Yeah.
Sheldon, what place will the Raps finish in the East next season?
Ooh. I'm going to say next season they finish in 9th.
Fair. Maddie.
Yeah.
Oh wait, you know what? That's going to be an all play. I'm saving that.
Oh
one.
dear.
But Maddie, if we keep running out our current lineup, i.e., no Kyle, no Fred, does that amount to the same thing as tanking without intentionally tanking?
Yes, I do. I think the more you have to play Baines, that is that's going to tank on its own. You know, so yeah, we need those guys, or it's fade for Cade.
Cheers. Cathryn, what would OG's wrestling entrance theme song be?
Oh my god. His theme song? Oof. Yeah, I know you said not to but there's a lot to consider here. I think it'd be something funny, something unexpected, like maybe like the Mario theme or something like that.
The Welcome Back Cotter theme song.
Welcome back.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely where I was leaning.
It's gonna be I'm blue. If I was green, I would die.
Yeah. Oh my god, that would be amazing. Yeah, it's something unexpected. Something that only gets him hype and no one else.
Fair. Sheldon, how many Freddies does this team need?
I think you need a solid starting 5.
Okay, I can't help but agree. Thank you, sir. Maddie, your last question.
Last question.
And hopefully this isn't a surprise. And hopefully you saw that he got fired from ESPN. But Paul Pierce. ... Was it worth it?
Yeah, I vaguely heard about this. Something to do with a private video or something.
He was having a bit of an IG party.
Okay.
And got let go from ESPN, but also seems like it might have been part of the plan.
Oh, Freddie.
I don't know. So people are saying he wanted to get fired.
Yeah, I think he did it on purpose.
Yeah. Oh, well, that makes it a different thing then. Maybe it's the right play. Where's he going? A Barstool or something now?
I don't.
Or the Athletic?
So do you think it was worth it?
Yes, I'll say it was worth it. If he's going to Barstool.
Posting strippers on Instagram to move to the Athletic.
Yeah, that's
just writing though. It's weird. It's just writing.
You never
for the
know,
Athletic.
you know. Paul Pierce moves in mysterious ways. During the whole DeAndre Jordan Twitter thing, he uploaded like a rocket emoji at some point, like because he didn't know how to use Twitter. So you never know. Paul Pierce is from a different time.
It's true.
But okay, this is an all play. Cathryn, we're going to start with you. Name what OG did. Name OG's wrestling finishing move. So like, yeah, give OG's move on Schroeder a name. And if you want a second to think about it, I called it tipping the scales.
Oh, that's a good one. Is he a Libra?
I don't know.
Oh, that would be fun if you named it that and he's a Libra. You know what? To me, like OG, like his humor is really dry. So I think he would just call it the Schroeder.
Oh wow! Named it after the person who got it.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
Sheldon, yeah. What's the name for OG's finishing move?
I'm gonna go with the OG. Oh my!
Mm-hmm.
Classic.
Oh my,
that's already in the
good.
NBA
Classic.
too.
Good.
It's already there. It's classic. Just classic, simple.
And the OG oh my, that's like you could see any wrestling broadcaster saying that, like, oh my. I don't know why I just said it worse than they do. You know what?
Can you give that another try, please? Just one more try.
Oh my. You know what? That's probably the last try. If you want me to announce for wrestling, I think I did just lose my job. But Maddie, what would you call OG's finishing move there on Dennis?
Well, I'd have to add something to it, but I would like it to call like OG's contact drop because he's been missing his contacts. They've been flying out of his eyes all season. So he does have to add something to it where he picks Schroeder up and tries to put him in his eyeball.
Okay. Yeah.
But
Maybe
like not, just like giving him a bit of a over his shoulders kind of thing, putting the contact back in.
there's got to be like a Hakeem optical pun there. You know what I mean? But yeah, Matt, cheers to you. You've been wanting those goggles all season.
Yes.
Every time a contact hits the floor, Matt is in my DMs.
Freak out. Yeah.
He's freaking out.
Here goes another one.
He's like, is it dirty? Who rinses them? All that. That's it. We made it to the end of the pod, everyone. Thank you so much for joining, and everyone who listens. Thank you so much for listening and sharing, and we really appreciate everything. Recently, the podcast has been growing, so thank you. But let's go to you first, Cathryn. What's up? Where can people check you out besides like here shilling for my podcast or shilling for my hot sauce?
Shilling?
Or wait, is shilling the right word? I mean like selling it for
Someone
me.
in the audience?
Oh, okay.
I might have used the wrong word.
That's fine. It doesn't matter.
Cheers.
You meant well.
Yeah.
I meant well.
Well, anyways, I host an even I don't know if my podcast is more ridiculous, but there's definitely even fewer stats in it. It's called the Buckets and Tea NBA Show. I put out episodes every Monday. It's me and a guest. Freddie's on pretty often, and we just talk about what's happened in the week of the NBA. Did Stephen A say something to annoy me? Did somebody put Rachel Nichols in a snake print shirt again? Just things like that, because she's beautiful and she deserves better. But episodes every Monday, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at itsme_Cathryn, spelled CATHRYN.
Hell yeah. I'm going to be looking for those snake prints more often. And I'm going to be mad.
It's in the tag when at the end of the YouTube video, when they're like, subscribe to our channel, she's wearing this ombre snake print shirt and it just drives me crazy.
Fair. Yeah. It sounds pretty busy.
It goes from like white, gray to like turquoise. It's all wrong.
Fair enough. Quick shout out to, if we're talking fashion for a sec, quick shout out to Serge on the bench.
Oh yeah.
He had that
amazing.
like flowing thing. It was beautiful.
That fit the other day. Yeah. Sir.
It was like, yeah.
It was art.
It actually,
was art.
yeah, it totally was. But yeah, Sheldon, what's up? Where can people check you out? We'll plug your Twitter and everything.
I just tried to turn on the jump to see if Rachel was wearing another snake print, but she's not hosting today. So
I
did check though. I did check. But yeah, Twitter, Shell Alexander. We do the Raptors post-game show. It's called Wrap It Up. You can find that streaming on Twitter or YouTube or Twitch. And yeah, that's part of the On Blast Network. We got a bunch of different podcasts there about a bunch of different random things, from reality TV to the NBA, so to gambling on football. Lots of stuff going on.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, yeah. Thank you both so much for doing the show. It was a good one. Yeah, well, I guess we'll deal with these last 20 or 20 some odd games as they come. And yeah, again, thanks again so much for everyone listening and sharing and all that good stuff, rating. Maddie, if you feel like we're good to go, like we're done, please, sir, just give me the words okay.
Okay.
This podcast has been brought to you by the Sonar Network.